You're listening to Once Upon a Mama. I'm your host, Molly Ann Luna. Each week, we call my mom, the original mom, Barb Ripley, to talk about ways of navigating motherhood at different ages and different stages. Because after all, once a mama, always a mama. Hey, Mom.
Hi, Molly.
So I was thinking about how proud I am of you because I know we've kind of touched on it before, but you have really been stepping out of your comfort zone lately. You know, going from being a stay-at-home mom and running your own daycare for 30 some years to only within the last year or two.
Almost 2 years.
You know, being a corporate woman and stepping into the travel industry. And I know at first you were really nervous about it, and now you're like owning it.
It's everything you do gets easier as you do it. Definitely when I first got home from class for 5 weeks training, I hadn't been home. And your sister calls me up and she's like, "Hey, Mom, I know you just got home, but you want to go fly a flight with me?" And I was like, "No." And I should have gone. In hindsight, now I should have gone with her. But that would have made my first flight so much easier, because my very first flight, I had to take myself to Kansas City, 2-hour drive from my town in Iowa, catch a flight down to Dallas. I think maybe my sister picked me up. Somehow I got out to my sister's, and I spent the night so I could be there for the next day. And I put on my little uniform, and I'm standing out front of her house waiting for the Uber to come. And my brother-in-law is sitting inside laughing at me. And I was scared to death, number one, to take Uber, which I do all the time now. Yeah, and number two,
I've done it before.
No. And number two, you get in a car with a stranger. And then number two, where do I go when I get to the airport? Who do I talk to? I don't know anybody. How does this work?
Because before becoming a flight attendant for Southwest, I mean, honestly, how many times had you ever really flown in your life?
Not really alone. One time alone only. That was one time, and it was down. Yeah, not knowing where to go, what to do, blah 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 blah. But yeah, now it's like nothing.
Yeah, and when you'd first decided, you know what? I think I'm ready for a change in my life. I'm going to say, goodbye. I'm going to close the doors on my daycare, and I'm going to step into this new career of something you've never done before. And I remember when you were just waiting to find out, one, if you got the job, and then two, like when your training started, how nervous you were with the anticipation of, well, what's to come.
Right. It was very scary. And I think I interviewed in July. I found out in August, the end of August, I got the job, and I didn't find out when I started until December. So my daycare kids had moved on already because they needed to find daycare, and I was just stuck. I'm like, when are they going to call me? 9 weeks went by before they called and said, "Hey, you're going to start January 3rd." So, and I went there again, took myself to the airport. No, maybe Phil took me. I think Phil took me because I was going to be gone for 5 weeks. Nobody purchased their car for 5 weeks.
You'd never been away from home that long at
all? Oh, never. My whole life. Like, I didn't even go to college. Like, I was married when I went to college, and never. Yeah, 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And I walked in. I didn't know anybody, and yeah. I mean, I hadn't thought about it really before, but I'm able to talk to strangers so much easier now. I love it. That's the favorite part of my job.
Yeah.
And can I just tell you, like, today there was a man sitting there with a brace on his leg, and my husband Phil is sitting home with a brace on his leg after we had our little ski trip.
Oh yeah. Yeah. What I love about your new job is that now you get to fly all over the world and get to meet up with me randomly for a weekend ski vacation.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because 1 week we were at the beach and the next week we were skiing.
He tweaked his leg on the slopes.
He did. So, but yeah, meeting new people is my new favorite thing to do.
Yeah. Well, you've always been a really outgoing individual, but coming from small town Iowa, where it took us like 2 hours to get to the nearest mall. And then growing up, I grew up in the 90s where internet really wasn't a thing. Uh,
Right.
yeah, how different it is. I really like see you stepping into your power now. And it's really exciting. I mean, and hello, stepping out of your comfort zone, deciding to do a podcast with me. What?
Frightening. Frightening.
Well, I just wanted to give you some kudos because I
Well,
know there's so many
thanks.
women out there, especially mommies, who are probably a little bit, I'll say it for myself too, sometimes overwhelmed with all of the demands that our kiddos like desire from us. But, there's pieces of ourselves that flourish. Like you're really flourishing being out and traveling and meeting new people and whatnot. So just wanted to shine a light on that and talk about how scary it can be to transition into something, to step outside of your comfort zone. But once you do, that courage slowly builds, that confidence slowly builds.
Yes, and the fear diminishes. I can still say sometimes I get a little bit anxiety, packing my bag and knowing I'm gonna, take 5 hours to get down to my job. But I know once I get to my job, when I get on the plane, I'm good to go. I'm in day 4 right now. Most people say, "Oh, I got to work 5 days a week." A flight attendant, 3 days and we're done. So I'm doing 6 days, but I got on the plane today. I'm like, oh, I'm on day 4. And my friend says, I'm on day 9. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. That's a lot. That's just a lot of energy with the passengers and a lot. It's hard on your feet. It doesn't, people don't think flight attendants work hard. And I didn't used to think your sister, I was like, what is she going to buy new shoes for? She just bought new shoes. No, being a flight attendant is very taxing on you, but
Yeah.
it's also very joyful, very enlightening. I've met so many great people just today. Even one of them I knew, but my other flight attendant, she's like, I've talked to you before. I said, I think I've talked to you before too. But now after this, tomorrow we're going to Albuquerque and we're going to do something tomorrow together in Albuquerque, downtown Albuquerque. It's going to be great. And we're going to build a memory and probably build a friendship. It might have to be like a Facebook friendship, but yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So much fun.
I'm so proud of you for stepping out of your comfort zone. And I think about it a lot because there's new areas and aspects of my own career that I'm, dipping my toe in the water.
Oh yeah, you know so much about technology and oh my,
I
I'm
love
like
technology.
unbelievable. Yeah, you and your technology song.
Technology.
No, but you blow me away because you've taught yourself all that.
Oh yeah, I should be getting a degree in some of the things I've been learning over the course of the last few years of being a mompreneur, an entrepreneur,
Mompreneur.
now a mompreneur. Yeah,
Mompreneur.
well, it can be really daunting, but I just remember growing up and watching you and just being like, sometimes you would be so fearful to just even drive into the city,
Oh,
which is like
definitely.
laughable now because you're like, that's not the city compared to the
That's so
city.
no, but when I lived in the Quad Cities, before you were born, if it was in an L, I could get there. If I had to go one and then make a turn and then go back and I could do an L, but I couldn't like drive in this.
You did.
Oh, like, okay, so the grocery store, to get to the grocery store, I'd have to go up one street and turn down another street. It was only in an L. I didn't have to like go zigzag, turn here, that. We didn't have GPS back
Well,
then,
yeah, in your defense, you did not have GPS. I don't know. We had to like actually get maps out and navigate.
But like, no, I honestly was fearful of that. Like, I'd wait for your dad to come home and then we'd go someplace or whatever. But, and then you also remember when we did move back to Clarinda, we'd go to just Council Bluffs. If I had to cross over to Omaha, oh my goodness, how am I going to drive in Omaha? And I can do that now, no problem at all. So I even drove in Vegas.
Wow. Now we
Not very well, but I drove in Vegas.
yeah. It's inspiring, because I think sometimes people get themselves stuck in like, well, this is just the way things always have been. It's the way things always are going to be. And maybe I'm just speculating here, but maybe there's some mommies out there who might have had a dream or a vision for herself before becoming a mommy, but then let's be honest, you get sucked in. There's There's no escaping it. No, it's great. I love it. I love being a mom. Don't misunderstand me. You can lose your identity as a
Yeah,
woman, or even, for your case, you got
I
pregnant
didn't.
when you were young. I don't know that you ever
Yeah.
even got an opportunity to decide who you were before being.
No, I'm still figuring out who I am. I mean, I'm just figuring that out now. I think that's what part of why I enjoy it so much too, is that I'm figuring out that I am good enough and I am worthy and I do, I do bring joy to people and they bring joy back to me, you kind of get what you give in life.
Yes.
And totally, even just for an example, quick, this last flight we did, we only had 50 passengers, and Marilyn's a fun, she likes to sing and make jokes, she's funny, but
Marilyn is
she
your
wasn't.
coworker?
Oh, Marilyn's my coworker, yeah. But she wasn't feeling it from this group on our plane. But then when we landed, she decided, what the heck, I'm going to go for it. And she did her songs and her jokes, and everybody clapped and said thank you, and you made my day. And so they probably needed that,
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm just figuring out who I am. When you talk about people having aspirations when they're younger and maybe losing it when they had a baby, I didn't have any aspirations except to be a mom. So, which is a great aspiration. It's great.
Yeah.
But eventually your kids grow up and move out and they don't need you anymore. And you need to figure out,
Well,
who
we do
am
need
I?
you, just in a different way.
Well, yeah, but my life was you three girls. And so now you're all grown up and making careers and lives of your own. And so thankful to Caitlin, my youngest, to get me into this career. So love it. Yep. Love
And
it so much. I'm still wearing the uniform.
and you're looking good in it too. Yeah, I think that's great. So I'm curious to know, because this is a recent transition for you of spending 30 some years doing one career and then now totally shifting gears, stepping into a whole other industry. What advice would you maybe give someone out there listening who's thinking about doing it, but they're feeling really afraid?
Oh, well, it's okay to feel afraid, but you have it within you to achieve anything that you want to do. Um, and even if you want to be a flight attendant, because they're hiring even again soon, they're hiring many, 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 but it's
Southwest
so much
Airlines,
fun.
are you listening? We should be getting.
Southwest Airlines, yes. No, and the thing of it is I never thought about being a flight attendant ever until Katie talked me into it. But I see a lot of young moms that do it. And I think, how do you leave your kids? I can't even imagine like leaving you guys with your dad and going fine. These young moms that are doing it, they love it. It's so good for them. They get to go to work, quote unquote, get away from the kids. The kids stay with daddy or
Does it
grandma.
not work? What's with the air quotes? Is it not
The
work?
air quotes is like, if, compared to being a mama, stay at home mom, this does not work. No.
That's true.
So you go
Nothing
to
is
get,
work compared to being a mom.
yeah. So you get to go to work, air quotes, and be with adults, and you get to stay in beautiful hotels, and then you get to return home to your lovely family who you love and adore. And the other thing was that some of the young moms said that they actually spend more time with their children being a flight attendant than a person that's working 9 to 5,
Oh, interesting.
because a mama that's working 9 to 5 is dropping them off at daycare, going to work, picking them up from daycare, going home, fixing supper, giving them the bath, putting them to bed. How much time do they get
Mm.
with their child? An hour, maybe two per day. And is it their best quality time? Probably not.
Mm.
Flight attendants, you're going to maybe be gone 2 nights a week, but you're going to be home 24/7 for 4 days. And then those babies are getting all your attention. You're getting to all their events. You're not missing anything.
Mm.
Opened up my eyes totally. Wish I'd have known about it 30 years ago.
Right. Wow. That's
Yeah.
cool. And, I'm like, well, I'm like, I'm just thinking about myself too, because I know there was a time where you're like, Molly, you should be a flight attendant. And I
Yeah.
considered it, but my dreams and ambitions are taking me elsewhere. And I'm still able to be home with my daughter, um, and have that quality time, but finding that flexibility or creating that flexibility around her schedule, which can be tricky.
Right.
But
Right. And you want to be able to make time to just get down and be silly and just, put the electronics away, put work away, and just get down and be silly, because that's the most important thing.
yeah, the question that I had for you was, if there's a woman out there who is ready to transition careers, what would be some advice that you would give her to help make that transition a little bit
Well,
more
I,
smooth?
I think you definitely have to have some people in your lives that are going to be supportive of your decision. I know I had a couple of sister-in-laws that are like, why would you want to do that? And I love them dearly. And I'm sure they still think, why would you want to do that? Because I'm not home with my husband every night. And that was a hard thing to do. But okay, so you need to surround yourself with some people that are going to support you. And I had you girls all supported me. My husband was very supportive. Caitlin was super supportive. Um, and then you just have to realize that you can do it if it means enough to you. Was I afraid of failing because it was a 5-week course? And was I afraid of failing, going back to my town and being like, oh, I didn't get it? Absolutely. Am I proud of myself for getting 100% on my final? You betcha.
Yeah, of course you
You
did. I told
betcha.
you to do it. Oh, I'm glad you bring that up though. The fear of criticism, especially from loved ones or from the community. Like, absolutely. Whenever you're stepping into something new or putting yourself out there, like, hello, co-creating this podcast with me, you're not always going to get the support from your immediate network that you desire. So I think that you brought up a very good point about surrounding yourself with people who will support you and who get it. I don't know if you know this, Mom, but I actually do run a Mindful Mamas mastermind group. And that is
You do?
exactly, I do. Yeah, that's exactly the place to come and join us. If you are looking to build out a new career for yourself, especially if you are a mompreneur, someone who wants to be home with the kiddos or make more time for the kiddos, but also be building up your personal business and brand, we do. We meet every week for these success calls. And it has been so empowering and so life-changing for so many mommies. So I'm glad you bring that up. And I want to extend that offer to anyone listening to come join our Mindful Mamas Mastermind group.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds like a great plan.
Mm-hmm. And then mommies, we want to hear from you. Have you made a transition in your life that you felt very afraid and fearful of, but now you've gained some confidence in it and you're rocking it? Because I know you
Yeah, and it could even have been becoming a mother. Now, I
absolutely.
didn't think twice about it, but I know a lot of people it's very, life-changing and daunting. And
Yeah.
I told you when you had, or you or Megan, like a lot of people try to make their lives revolve around the baby, but you need to make the baby's life revolve around you. Not revolve around, but make it so the baby fits into the life that you're wanting to lead. You don't have to stop and change your life completely just because you have a new baby in the family.
That is an excellent point. Yes, thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
And that'll be a topic for a future
Yeah,
episode for us about
definitely.
the new identity of stepping into mom, because I
Yeah.
certainly felt the physical and mental emotional changes with that.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That sounds like a good talk. We'll have another day. This chick's got to get a nap in, though.
All right, you get to bed, and then I'm going to get ready because I bet my babe is about to wake up from her nap.
Oh, give her hugs and kisses from me.
I will. Thanks for
All
having a
right.
conversation with us today, Mom.
Yeah, thanks for talking to me. It gets kind of lonely here on the road sometimes, too. So, all right.
Got
Love you.
you.
Yeah. All right. Love you. Bye-bye.
Mindful Mamas TV would like to take a moment to say thank you to our exclusive insiders. Your contribution, as little as $1 an episode, is what helps make this show possible. A portion of your contribution goes to the Unstoppable Foundation, a nonprofit humanitarian organization bringing sustainable education to children and communities in developing countries. Not yet an exclusive insider, but want to become one? Go to mindfulmamastv.com/connect to find out more. Thanks for listening to today's episode of Once Upon a Mama. Be sure to head to mindfulmamastv.com to join the conversation. Also, if you're a mama or a future mama-to-be, be sure to join the Mindful Mamas community on Facebook. This love-centered community of driven mamas from all over the world are ready to love, guide, and support you as you create a happier, healthier, wealthier life for you and your little ones.